And we'll take our first questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Hello, Jessica. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So I read about this and I just wanted to get your side of the story. Joanne says that there's some animosity between the two of you. How did this start?
I don't know. To be honest, I didn't know there was really any animosity, but I guess that's what happens when you argue with people via, social media. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really feel there's a beef. I mean, if that's what's going to get her out of bed to come fight me, then okay. How do you have beef with another fighter that like she never did anything to me? Like I don't even know her. Come on now.
No, I understand what you're saying. I want to go back a little bit. Since your last fight, you have come out to discuss a lot of the health issues that you had going on. Just overall, just can you discuss how things have improved for you physically and everything since you had your procedure?
Yeah, man, thank God I lost that fight because me losing that fight means I get to be a better me because I had no idea what truly I was dealing with. I think that fighters are the biggest liars in the world, because we lie about pain all the time, whether we're in it or whether we feel it. And I think I was lying to myself for many, many years about the things that I was feeling, and I just after this last fight, it was so bad. You guys, the weight cut was absolutely terrible. The first time I actually felt how bad my stomach hurt was in the Valentina, and reference this, Eric Nixick and Gray Maynard were in that room with me when I was literally in pain, just grabbing my belly button and being like, something's wrong with my stomach. And, it happened again with Viviani. And in other ways, it was disguising itself as like female issues and, like things of that nature. So I was getting so many mixed signals. But it wasn't until, that had happened. And then it wasn't until I found myself in the hospital July 7th is when I finally found out that something was very wrong with me. And, if you can understand where I'm coming from, the first couple of things they tell me is colon cancer, colitis, Crohn's, and colon cancer runs in my family, especially the women. My grandmother, my mom's mom, passed away from lung cancer and colon cancer. So it's definitely something I have to, be worried about. So I'm still dealing with struggling with irritable bowel syndrome and actually it being a real thing, as well as getting my gallbladder removed. And that finally got removed in um, August 15th. I think August 9th is the day that we actually found out. And it was just a month worth of testing, you guys. Like I can't even begin to tell you, like that was right on the time that the one gentleman had passed away from colon cancer and how fast and things kind of were happening, with me. But I was getting tested, new tests every week, to find out till we finally figured out specifically it was the gallbladder.
I know that this may seem like an odd question because obviously the fight is the most important and winning. I know that there's been a lot of fighters who have come out and said a lot about, a lot of criticism, holding the curtain and all this and criticizing your weight cut. What is the most motivating factor for you going into this one? Is it getting that W or is it also proving, you're okay on the scale? It was health issues. It wasn't like a discipline, proving that
It was,
point to everybody.
and see, that's how disgusting we've treated each other as human beings. We instantly, instead of asking somebody who has a track record of making weight every time, nobody turned around. Not fellow fighters, not anybody came out to me and was like, man, Jessica, is something wrong? Like, we've never seen you do that. So instead, other fighters, like I heard the way Paul Felder talked about me on the fight, and like how people said things about me. Like, nobody reached out to say, hey, dude, maybe we could help you. Is there something going on? Do you need a doctor? Let's talk about it. Let's do some assessing. And the PI, they were stumped. The UFC PI was absolutely stumped. I had to leave them and go to other people because they could not figure out what was going on with me. So I think by nature, all that I can say in this particular situation is everybody can stop and wait to see what happens on weigh-in day. And, to give me a chance, like again, like, why are we always about putting people down, especially in this sport? If people aren't making weight, there's problems, right? And it's not a discipline thing. And especially going into my 14th UFC fight, I've got over 10 fights and I never miss weight. It's never happened. But instead, we just, we push people down and we bully and we treat people, bad. So I mean, it is what it is. I know what was going on. I fixed the problem, because when it boils down to it, if I don't fix the problem, no one will. And no one's going to support me to do it. So in that kind of point in case, that's why I'm here with my coaches that are more like friends, and I can even say that they're friends that have the ability to take me to the next level, because I need that in my life, and we need that.
I appreciate your honesty. Thank you. My final question, just how do you feel you match up with JoJo stylistically, and how does this fight go?
Well, I feel like I'm a terrible matchup for JoJo, right? Because she's gonna think I'm just gonna wrestle her, because I always talk about wrestling all the time, but isn't kicking her game? So I'd like to see her stop a double leg if she tries to kick me. So I mean, and then if she's not kicking me, I'm punching her. So I guess like it's a lose-lose situation for her, no matter what happens, and no matter where the fight goes, I'm ready to take it all on.
Thank you, Jessica. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Ken Rodney with TSN. Your line is open.
Hey, Jessica, thanks for the time. I'm just wondering, now that you've put those health issues behind you, how different this camp felt compared to the ones that you had before your last two fights. Do you feel like you're a lot better prepared? Like, do you feel a difference?
Yes,
And also,
guys, I had a dead organ. I had a dead organ in my body. Like, I don't want to sound like a jerk, because like when I say it, like, a dead organ that you were born with, that is a full functioning thing. People die from gallbladder cancer. People die from pancreatic cancer. People die from spleen issues, from appendix bursting. I had a dead gallbladder. I was so fortunate that in that time my gallbladder did not explode or even poison me any worse. So yeah, I feel like a new person. I feel energetic. I mean, I feel good now that I understand foods. I've been allergic to eggs and dairy my entire life. Unfortunately, maybe just the way that my dad was growing up, and I never got tested for it. And I think that by now we've realized that food and things have changed, that I've come to find out I have been allergic my whole life. I should have known too, even in this last weight cut, when the UFC, when we had talked about my dieting and they had gave me eggs, I was just profusely vomiting the entire week, the eggs. So yeah, it's crazy to think about that. And I think that we don't take enough credit that I can't train my gallbladder, I can't train my lungs, I can't do these things to physically take the abuse that I'm forcing it to take. So I don't know if it's fight related or if it was nutrition related, but all I know is that I don't have it, and that I'm thankful I got it out of me, and I'm not living with that pain anymore.
So with that behind you, obviously your goal is to get back to another title shot and then get yourself that gold. What kind of perspective do those health problems add to the goal of trying to get back to the top of the division?
It's everything's different now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm different now. I'm excited to go back to weight cutting. I'm excited to do this. I mean, everything is different that way. Obviously getting to the UFC gold is what every fighter wants. And they'd be lying if they didn't say that. But there's levels to leveling, right? So you have one level and then you keep continuously reaching each one. And this first level is the first level of business was getting my health taken care of, and my nutrition. And then next is, winning a fight. And then from there, now maintaining and then going into the next fight. So, I obviously have some work to do, and I've got time and health on my side. So, I mean, whatever we have to do to get me there, I'll do.
All right. I wish you good health. Thanks for your time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
And we'll take our final questions from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting. Your line is open.
Hey, Jess. Not to keep hammering away on the gallbladder question, but I'm curious, when you finally got diagnosed, did they give you a time? Like, did they give you a sense like how long it actually had been like causing you problems? Because I'm sure this is going back a while. Like, did they give you an idea like how long your gallbladder has actually been giving you issues?
So it usually takes a couple of years, they said. It takes a couple of years for the gallbladder to fully die. So most people get their gallbladder, and it's actually more common in women than it is in men. But men do, it does happen with men. Um, but it usually takes a couple of years. But they said that, again, let's put some things in perspective. And this is all things that people can Google if you would really like to know anything about it. This is free information out there for you. And even if you're struggling with food and even digestive things in that regard, um, mine was dead for a lot longer than they anticipated. But most people, when they start to notice a gallbladder issue, it's removed anywhere from 60% to 75% function. That means 75% of it is functioning. I had a 9% functioning gallbladder. 9%. Nine. That was completely poisoning my body. So that being said, like I think it got really, really bad over the past year. But I have to question that. Have I ever had a fully functioning gallbladder? Because I've struggled with stomach pains my whole life. Like I've always had stomach pains. It's been a part of my life, my whole life. And this is the first time since August 15th, and since recovery, I think fully, I should say since September, that I'm not dealing with chronic stomach pains all the time. And if I do get a stomach pain, I know what it is. And I know it's from a food or I had gotten in contact with something like even today, like I had rashes all over my neck. Some of the soap over here that I use, I'm allergic to. So, it happens. I have to be very, very careful about everything I do now.
With that being said, coming out on the other side of that, when you do have a health issue like that and you finally get it fixed, I mean, in terms of mentality, does it just make you feel better beyond the physical side, just the mental side? Because I'm sure I know going through those last couple of weight cuts, you're not a person who ever really struggled with making weight or missed weight before. Coming out on the other side of that, can you kind of give me an idea of the mentality now, just being healthy?
Oh my God. Like we live, like you guys, we're still trying to survive a pandemic. People are dying all the time. Health is the most important thing that we have in this world. It's the only thing that we really can't control. You know what I mean? But it's the most important thing we have. So knowing that, like, yeah, I got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. I really saw some really dark times. I felt really, really bad that I don't think that when you think you're a survivor, like I was a survivor of abuse and stuff like that, but to go through something so traumatic like that, to have an organ removed from my body, like there's definitely been some things that I've had to deal with in that way to like really like overcome it, to the fact that like I feel very, very powerful and I feel like I have a whole new control of my body, a whole new control of my brain. I'm not dealing with brain fog all the time and constant confusion because I'm being poisoned. So, yeah, I can't wait for all that. I definitely have a chip on my shoulder because I was dealing with something that I tried to hide. And I've said it now a couple of times. Fighters are the biggest liars in the world. We lie about pain all the time, like all the time on a daily basis. And I don't have to lie about pain. Like I don't have to lie about it. Like I'm not hurting. I have no injuries. Like I have no excuse. So Jojo, if you beat me because you're the better person. There's no health issues right now. I'm happy. My body's probably the best it's ever been in my entire 34 years of my life. And I'm getting ready to do the best job in the world.
Uh, Going back, you mentioned, in a way, you were actually happy the last fight happened because afterwards you were allowed, you were able to actually diagnose what went wrong and get things fixed. But coming out of that fight and then facing a fighter like JoJo, how big is this moment for you in terms of your career, in terms of your place in the flyweight division? Because obviously the end goal is to get back to the title, but I'm sure you want to show, again, taking nothing away from Cynthia or any of your past opponents, but this is the real Just Guy.
Again, like, we can sit here and we can talk about it all day long, right? And I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding. My career has been like this, right? I've given you nothing far short of entertainment, and I've been undyingly myself, and I've grown up in this sport for many years, going into my 14th fight. So, like, I know that I'm gonna get the best JoJo because she doesn't like me, but she's gonna get the best physically, Jessica that this sport might have ever seen, that I've ever seen, and I feel it. I mean, we're going into this weight cut and going into all these things that there won't be much of a weight cut. My body will be dialed in and ready to perform.
And last one for me, I don't want to get too much into game plan. You mentioned earlier JoJo probably thinks you're going to wrestle, but there's one area of her game where she has maybe struggled a little bit in the UFC. It has been her submission game, her submission arsenal in terms of getting caught in a couple of those without giving away game plan. Do you see like there is an opening? Do you feel like there is a big difference in your ground game versus her ground game?
Well, yes, because I worked with Mr. Jason Manley and Jake Shields and Rachel Cumming going into this fight. And if you guys all know who Jason Manley and Jake Shields are, I mean, we're talking about the original Caesar Six, but also longtime Ronda Rousey's jujitsu coach. So with them, adding them as friends and into it, obviously, JoJo lost her last fight by submission. So that always happens to us fighters, right? Like we lose by something, we're like, we got to do it more. Oh my God, I'm not good. I must do it more. So again, it was nice to work with such good people that they were like, hey, you can't get to this level in a fight camp, Jess. You can't stop those certain levels of things. So it was nice to splash a little bit of everything into this camp and just make my overall self better all the way. So got to put a couple more submissions that I never knew that I liked. I got to add a couple more punches in because I worked with a gentleman from the money team. So I can't wait to showcase my paws. And most of all, I'm joined by my little brother in my corner again, and I just love him to death, and I love having him there for me. And when it boils down to it, it's family first and health. So I feel like I got both of them on my side.
Thanks, Jess.
Of course.
Thank you very much, Jessica. That's all the time we have for you.
Boom. Thanks.